The stars above Earth twinkled like diamonds scattered across the inky-black canvas of space. But they were not the only lights in the night sky. A small, silver speck hovered just beyond the orbit of the moon, its metallic surface reflecting the faint light from distant celestial bodies. Inside the ship, a woman named Zara adjusted her breathing mask and glanced out at Earth through the transparent dome of the cockpit. The planet's blue and green hues were mesmerizing, but she had seen this view many times before on her mission to study life on Earth. Suddenly, alarms blared inside the ship, and several red warning lights flashed in rapid succession. Zara's eyes widened as sensor readings indicated an approaching space debris field that threatened to tear her spacecraft apart if she didn't act quickly. With practiced ease, she maneuvered around the hazardous fragments, her fingers moving nimbly over the control panels. Almost there, she muttered under her breath, her voice calm despite the intense situation. The ship veered sharply to avoid a particularly large piece of debris and then streaked towards Earth's atmosphere with incredible speed. As she approached the upper layers of the atmosphere, Zara initiated the deceleration sequence to prevent overheating. A fiery glow enveloped the spacecraft as it plunged through thick clouds, its trajectory perfectly calculated for a smooth landing in an undisclosed location on Earth's surface. Minutes later, the ship touched down gently and the hatch automatically opened. Zara stepped out, her sleek black suit shimmering slightly from the residual heat of re-entry. She took a deep breath, relishing the cool air that hadn't been polluted by her home planet's atmosphere. Her mission was to gather samples and data about Earth's flora and fauna for her species' scientific council. But as she made her way towards the designated area, something caught her eye: a small human settlement not far from where she had landed. Curiosity piqued. Zara decided to investigate further. She concealed herself using a camouflage device that rendered her nearly invisible while also masking her presence with an illusion of trees and bushes. As she approached the settlement cautiously, she saw humans going about their daily lives, children playing in a park, adults walking dogs, and people chatting at cafes. Zara had seen human civilization before through satellite images and recordings from Earth's history. But being here in person was different. There was something intriguing about these beings, their interactions, emotions, and the way they moved with a natural grace that her species lacked due to their advanced technology and synthetic environments. Suddenly, she felt a sharp jab of curiosity mingled with confusion when one of the humans noticed her presence despite her camouflage. A young woman with dark hair stopped in her tracks, staring straight at Zara as if she could see right through the illusion. This was impossible. Yet there it was, those blue eyes locking onto hers without any visible means to detect her. "Hey!" the human woman said hesitantly, but firmly. "Why are you constantly staring at me?" Caught off guard and uncertain how to respond, Zara's initial reaction was a flicker of surprise that showed on her face before she could control it. The human noticed this instantly and stepped closer, peering through what seemed like an illusionary fog. "Because you appear stunning," Zara admitted, the words coming out in her native language but immediately translating into fluent English through her ship's AI system. She hadn't expected such a direct encounter, nor had she anticipated her own admission to be so candid. The human woman blinked several times, clearly taken aback by the unexpected response from what appeared to be an invisible figure. For a moment, there was silence between them as Zara watched the human process this strange interaction while trying not to reveal herself completely. This encounter was unlike anything she had prepared for in her mission simulations. "Well," the woman said finally with a small smile, "I'm Claire." She extended a hand through the illusionary barrier towards Zara, who could feel it brushing against her palm despite no actual contact being made. "I am Zara," she responded, mirroring the human's gesture, "and I apologize for startling you." Claire's eyes widened slightly before narrowing thoughtfully. "You're not what I expected," she said softly. "I mean, if this is some kind of joke." No joke," Zara interrupted quickly, her voice taking on a more earnest tone. I am truly here, and your appearance has genuinely intrigued me. Claire stepped back slightly as if processing the implications of what Zara had just said. Intrigued, she echoed. Zara nodded slowly. Yes, there is something about you humans that fascinates me, and now I have met one face to face. A quiet contemplation filled Claire's gaze before a glimmer of excitement appeared in her eyes. So that you're not from around here? I come from a distant planet, Zara confirmed, watching carefully for any signs of fear or hostility. For a moment, it looked as though the information might be too much to process at once, but then Claire's expression shifted into one of cautious interest rather than alarm. That's really something. Claire, we must leave this place now, Zara said urgently. It is not safe for me to remain visible. Nodding quickly, Claire led the way towards a small park nearby where she could explain more about her own life on Earth and perhaps gain some understanding of why an alien was suddenly appearing out of thin air. As they walked, Zara's mind raced with questions about this human woman named Claire who seemed both curious and intrigued by her existence, and how such an encounter might change the course of her mission entirely. But for now, all she could do was follow and hope that this unexpected twist would lead to something extraordinary. As they entered the park, Zara found herself drawn into a world filled with vibrant greens and soothing sounds. Birds chirped melodically from tree branches above, and children laughed joyfully nearby on playground equipment. This serene setting contrasted sharply with her usual sterile environment aboard her ship or within alien habitats she had visited during her missions. Claire led Zara to a quiet spot beneath a large oak tree where they could sit down without drawing too much attention. The human woman's demeanor seemed calmer now, though still cautious, as if trying not to reveal too much herself amidst this peculiar situation. So, Claire began softly. Tell me more about your world. Zara hesitated briefly, but then decided honesty would be the best approach. My planet is called Voltoria. It orbits a distant star in another galaxy, and my species, the Voltorians, have developed advanced technologies that allow us to travel across galaxies easily, she explained, her voice steady yet filled with awe at the thought of sharing this information with someone from Earth. Claire listened intently, her eyes widening occasionally as Zara detailed aspects of their society and culture. From sprawling cities floating high above mountains to intricate biological ecosystems that mimicked Earth's forests in miniature, every piece of knowledge shared seemed to deepen Claire's fascination, but also raise more questions than answers. Is there anyone else like you on your planet? Claire asked suddenly, her curiosity piqued by the notion of being so unique yet equally intrigued by the idea of others who might share a similar experience of encountering humanity. No, Zara replied, shaking her head. I am part of a small research team sent out to study various planets and their inhabitants. I was alone on this mission until now. A momentary silence fell between them as they both absorbed the weight of what that meant, how rare and extraordinary their meeting truly was. But just when it seemed like things were beginning to flow smoothly, another twist emerged from an unexpected direction. A group of people started approaching the park, seemingly drawn by some invisible force, or perhaps simply enjoying a pleasant evening stroll together. Their presence immediately heightened Zara's awareness. She had been instructed not to reveal herself publicly unless absolutely necessary. Quickly, she whispered urgently to Claire, "We need to move." Claire nodded and helped guide them through the park unnoticed, their earlier conversation now put on hold as they focused on blending in with the human crowd around them. The tension mounted visibly, but also strangely heightened the sense of adventure for both women. They were not just two individuals meeting under unusual circumstances, but partaking in a thrilling game of secrecy and survival against unforeseen odds. However, it wasn't long before another complication arose. One member of the approaching group suddenly paused near their hiding spot beneath the tree. casting an uneasy glance towards Zara despite her camouflaging techniques still being effective. This momentary pause seemed to signal something more profound than mere coincidence or chance encounter. Some instinct within Claire sparked recognition and concern. "Zara," she whispered back urgently, "there's something different about them." Before either could fully process the implications, a sudden commotion erupted from further inside the park where two individuals had engaged in what appeared to be an argument. The crowd began moving closer towards this disturbance, effectively drawing all eyes away from their hiding spot temporarily, but also presenting new dangers should anyone look back or stray too close. "Follow me," Claire said decisively, leading Zara through a path less frequented by the gathering crowd and towards safety deeper within the park's confines. The urgency of their flight combined with the eerie quiet left behind in its wake created an almost surreal atmosphere. They were now not just avoiding detection, but escaping potential harm from unknown threats. Their movements paused once more as they reached a small pond hidden amongst dense foliage where ducks calmly swam on the surface, completely oblivious to the tension between these two women. Claire stopped beside the water's edge and turned back towards Zara with a renewed sense of determination in her eyes. "We need to find out why those people were looking for us," she stated firmly, though there was an underlying uncertainty that hinted at deeper complexities lurking beneath the seemingly straightforward statement. "I'd agreed." Zara nodded in agreement. "But first, we must ensure our safety." Together they navigated through the park's paths and hidden corners, using Claire's knowledge of the area to stay well out of sight while also maintaining vigilance against any further disturbances or unexpected encounters. The air buzzed with unspoken tension as each step forward brought them closer to uncovering the mystery surrounding their presence here, but also increased risks that threaten everything Zara had worked so hard to achieve. However, it wasn't until they reached a secluded grove toward the park's edge did another major revelation come crashing down around them. A familiar figure emerged from behind a bush. Dr. Michael Grant, one of Claire's colleagues and an expert in extraterrestrial studies who had been researching unexplained phenomena for years, but never found conclusive evidence. "Claire," he breathed out with visible surprise when he spotted her standing beside Zara. "You're not alone after all. What are you doing here?" Claire asked quickly, eyes narrowing as she assessed him carefully. "I received a message about an anomaly in this park shortly before arriving, Dr. Grant explained hurriedly. "I followed it and found what?" Claire pressed urgently, her gaze flicking back towards Zara who remained partially concealed beside her, but equally intrigued by these developments. "This, Dr. Grant said simply yet profoundly, holding up a small device that emitted faint signals directly towards where Zara was standing despite remaining mostly hidden from view through the use of advanced camouflage technology. The implications were clear and chilling. Something or someone had detected and tracked them here intentionally rather than purely coincidentally. Who or what is trying to find us?" Claire whispered, her voice trembling slightly with an undercurrent of fear mixed into curiosity. Before anyone could answer definitively though, another unexpected twist occurred. The ground beneath their feet suddenly rumbled ominously. Roots pushed upward through cracked soil and vines entwined around nearby branches as if responding to some unseen command. The air grew thick with an otherworldly energy that seemed almost sentient in its manifestation, causing everyone present to instinctively reach for whatever protection they could muster against this sudden intrusion into their reality. The park began to transform before their eyes, the once familiar trees and pathways now twisting and bending as if alive. Roots shot up from the ground like serpents, wrapping around anything in sight, and strange lights flickered intermittently through the foliage. Claire gasped, her grip on Zara tightening reflexively as they both realized something far more dangerous was unfolding than any human or alien encounter could have predicted. "Quickly, Dr. Grant shouted over the growing chaos, "we need to get out of here now." Zara didn't hesitate. She activated a device on her wrist that created an invisible force field around them, protecting against further entanglement with the rapidly evolving environment. However, this action only bought them limited time as more vines and tendrils tried to break through the barrier. "We must find cover," Zara urged, guiding Claire and Dr. Grant toward a nearby cluster of bushes where they could briefly regroup. The force field held strong but was clearly straining under the relentless assault from within the park. "What's happening?" Claire asked, her voice barely above a whisper amidst the commotion. "I don't know," Zara admitted honestly for once in her mission, "but it seems like our presence has awakened some kind of life form." As if in response to her words, the ground below them gave another violent shudder, causing debris and small trees to rise up from the earth as though pulled by invisible hands. The air crackled with energy, sending tendrils shooting outwards like electric sparks. "Wait, Doctor," Grant said suddenly, his eyes narrowing as he studied their surroundings more closely. This isn't just an anomaly, it's a gateway." What?" Zara questioned sharply, her mind racing to process the implications of such a discovery amidst this chaotic environment. "A portal leading between worlds," Dr. Grant explained urgently. "The reason why you were tracky here might be because someone or something wanted us to discover its existence and possibly interact with it." "But why would they do that?" Claire wondered aloud, her confusion evident in every line of her body language despite the pressing urgency of their situation. "Perhaps it's a test," Zara suggested grimly. "A way for whatever lies beyond this gateway to observe our reactions and responses under stress." Before any period of behavior, however, another search of the park. This one individual that illuminated everything with a momentarily within the darkness lit it luminescence. "This is our chance," Dr. Grant declared decisively, grabbing Claire's hand and pulling her forward alongside Zara, who kept the protective force field active between them as they moved swiftly through this transformed space. The vines retreated slightly at their approach but remained vigilant barriers against uninvited intruders or escapees from outside. As they approached what seemed like an opening within the chaos, a strange door materialized out of thin air before them, a circular portal with intricate engravings glowing softly around its edges. A cold breeze flowed through this doorway, carrying whispers that sounded almost lyrical yet incomprehensible to human ears. "Do we dare?" Claire asked hesitantly, her eyes flickering nervously between the strange door and the tumultuous park behind them. "We have no choice," Zara replied firmly, stepping closer despite the apprehension building within her. "If this leads us deeper into understanding why you humans were chosen for this encounter and possibly why I was sent here, then we must take this risk." With a deep breath, Claire nodded and took another step forward, her hands still entwined with Dr. Grant's while also reaching out tentatively toward Zara as if seeking comfort amidst the unknown. The force field around them flickered, but held steady just long enough for all three to pass through the shimmering threshold into what awaited beyond. On the other side of this portal, the environment transformed once more from a chaotic park setting back to something resembling Voltoria's natural habitats, albeit twisted by some cosmic alteration. Plants grew in exotic patterns. Fauna moved with ethereal grace not seen on Earth or even fully understood by Voltorian science, and an overarching sense of ancient wisdom permeated every fiber of existence here. "Welcome," a soft but commanding voice echoed through their minds rather than audible speech forms known to either species. "You have been chosen for this encounter because you hold the key." "To what?" Dr. Grant asked aloud, though his question seemed directed towards himself more than any tangible responder. "The balance between worlds," the ethereal voice answered cryptically. "Your presence here has set in motion events that will lead to greater understanding and cooperation among your species and mine." Claire felt a shiver run down her spine as she gazed around at this bizarre new world, wondering if everything they had experienced up until now was merely preparation for the singular moment where destinies intertwine across galaxies. Zara's eyes widened slightly in realization of the profound impact their mission could hold, not just scientifically, but philosophically too. "We will bring back what we learn," Dr. Grant vowed solemnly to his colleagues amidst this surreal setting, his hands still clasped with Claire's as if symbolizing an unbreakable bond forged through adversity and discovery. "And you'll help us do that?" Zara asked, tentatively yet hopeful of the potential collaboration across species lines here on Earth and beyond. "Yes, Dr. Grant confirmed without hesitation, turning to face both women squarely despite the bizarre surroundings. "Together we can bridge gaps in knowledge and foster peace among different life forms." With those words hanging heavily in the air, they stepped forward into this new chapter of their lives, scientists from two worlds bound together by an unexpected encounter that promised not only answers but also a future filled with shared possibilities. As Zara, Claire, and Dr. Grant continued exploring beyond the portal, each step revealed deeper layers of mystery intertwined with hope for unity across different species. Their journey was far from over. In fact, it had just begun, a quest that would shape futures yet unknown while bridging gaps between Earth and distant worlds like Voltoria. The story left readers craving more tales of such cosmic encounters and the profound impact they could have on humanity's future amidst a vast universe waiting to be explored. And so ended their initial adventure under the stars, leaving behind not just memories but seeds for greater narratives yet to unfold in this thrilling tale of extraterrestrial intrigue and human discovery.